satanic whisper. Don't listen to it. Whatever you do, don't listen. It's in the fog. It's... oh God. It's not crying. It's calling. You know, there are some places in this world that feel like they're tucked away on the very edge of the map, shrouded in something much thicker than just weather. These are the places where folklore isn't a collection of quaint stories. It's a survival guide on a forgotten stretch of coastline. Nestled in a cove that's always kissed by mist, lies the village of Port Blossom. And in Port Blossom, the locals have one simple rule. When the fog rolls in, you go inside, you lock your doors, and you do not, under any circumstances, follow the sound of the crying. They call it the Grey Wail. Coastal towns have always spun tales about the ocean's mysteries. Ghost ships, spirits of the drowned, you name it. Most are just stories. But the legend of the Grey Wail is different. It's not a ghost story. It's a cautionary tale about something the locals believe is a physical, predatory thing. Folklore has always used monsters to give a face to our deepest fears. The dark, the unknown, being lost. The Grey Wail is just that. It's the personification of losing, not just your way, but your very self. This story, passed down for generations, describes a uniquely thick fog that rolls in from the sea. A fog that moves with an unnatural purpose, blanketing the village in a disorienting silence. But the silence never lasts. Carried on the damp air is a sound that just tears at you. What seems to be the faint, desolate sobbing of a child. But the legend warns that this sound is a lure. It's a trap, designed specifically to prey on our empathy. Anyone who hears it feels this overwhelming need to find the source, to help. The villagers know the truth, though. The fog is the creature, and the wail is its bait. This idea actually lines up with myths from all over the world, where nature hides something otherworldly. In Dutch folklore, spirits called the Witte Wieven often appear as misty forms that lure people to their doom with their voices. The Grey Wail is a hunter in the same vein, but it doesn't want your life. It wants your memories. It feeds on who you are. In the autumn of 2018, a landscape photographer named Julian Croft came to Port Blossom. He was the kind of guy who chased storms, who sought out dramatic, atmospheric conditions for his art. To him, the legend of the Grey Wail wasn't a real threat. It was an irresistible artistic opportunity. The warnings were just charming local color, a good story to tell with his photos. The innkeeper pleaded with him not to go out if the fog came, her voice tight with a fear Julian found a little theatrical. He just smiled, told her he'd be careful, and packed his camera bag. On his third day, the air grew still. A thick, pearlescent bank of fog rolled in from the sea, swallowing the horizon and creeping through the streets. It was faster and denser than any fog Julian had ever witnessed. Doors clicked shut, the streets emptied. In minutes, the world was reduced to just a few feet of visibility. For Julian, it was perfect. He walked toward the old stone pier, the silence broken only by the muffled clang of a distant bellboy. Then, he heard it. It was a high, thin sound, like a child weeping, just like the legend said. His first instinct was compassion. A kid, lost out here, he called out, but the thick air swallowed his voice. He followed the sound, heading deeper into the gray. The crying seemed to dance around him, always just ahead, drawing him further and further from the village. A deep sense of disorientation started to kick in. The path felt wrong under his feet. The fog was so muffling, it felt like the rest of the world had just ceased to exist. He stumbled to his knees. He tried to picture his wife's face, but the image was a blur, like a watercolor portrait left in the rain. He tried to remember his own name, why he was even there, but there was nothing. only the fog and the sound of crying. He looked down at the expensive camera around his neck with a vague confusion, like it was an artifact from a lost civilization. He didn't know what it was for. He didn't know who he was. The last thing to go was the fear itself, replaced by a placid, unnerving blankness. He just sat there, motionless, as the gray wail enveloped him. A search party found Julian Croft the next morning, after the fog receded. He was just sitting on a rock near the shore, miles from where he started, staring vacantly at the waves. His camera was gone, but he was physically fine. When the local sheriff approached, calling his name, Julian didn't respond. He just looked up with calm, empty eyes. At the hospital, doctors ran every test imaginable. There was no sign of brain injury, no physical trauma, nothing neurologically wrong. But Julian Croft was gone. He could speak, but only in simple, repetitive phrases. He could perform basic tasks, but had no memory of how he knew how. The story of the Grey Whale is a fabrication, a piece of modern folklore I crafted for this. But its core ingredients are pulled from centuries of real mythology surrounding fog, the sea, and the unexplainable. So, I'm curious. What are the stories told where you're from? Share them in the comments below.